Hey folks, it's time for another early career designer portfolio review. Thanks for your patience as I am figuring out how to get everything done in a week. It turns out when you work for yourself, you are still really busy. That's crazy. My boss is super cool though. She lets me do cool things like videos. All right, now I'm just being a dork. All right, we're here with Camille Gillman, who has a really fun loading animation. It's really subtle. It's not overwhelming. It's not too distracting. It actually took me maybe a whole minute to notice that this was restarting itself. And Camille, I freaking love this. This is a really cool little design you made. I am not a branding designer or a visual graphic designer, so like everything that y'all do just amazes me. I love this. Let's get into your portfolio. All right. I am a multidisciplinary creative with a passion for creating aesthetically inspiring experiences. I think you might have an extra space in here where I can use my skills to do meaningful design. With years of experience in the industry, I've had the privilege of working with diverse clients, helping them achieve their goals. All right, I love it. We might want to add a little bit of line height here. For some reason, the bottom of your G is cut off. And man, I am so nitpicky. I notice the spaces. I notice the weird stuff. Y'all, have you ever picked up like a library book, like an old published book, and realized I can see where this extra spaces are? It's annoying. Those grammar nerds, I get you. If you're a grammar nerd, I see you. All right, so tell me more. I love this. Wearer of glasses and Clark's Wallabies. All right, tell me more. Okay, so that takes us to our About page. My forte lies in transforming thoughts into comprehensive design experiences, merging innovation and technology to give shape to ideas. I think my very first, my playlist, if I were one, that's amazing. I think my first suggestion would be to make this line length just a little bit tighter. First of all, we don't love the orphans down here because your entire thought is give shape to ideas. And that really should be on one line and be really powerful at the very end of the paragraph. So I would even consider making the text, I know this is funny, I say this occasionally, make the text a little bit bigger, maybe align it with the top of this photo and bring these in line together because everything else is aligned except for this photo is kind of kicked out to the left. It looks like it's trying to align with the logo, but it's not completely aligned. So make that just a little bit shorter, allow that last line to give real punch to your About Me page. And this is fun. Branding, print, and digital, that other thing. That's interesting. 3D animation, other things. Okay, that's very cool. Values, love, collaboration and inclusion, accessibility and sustainability. I love this on your About Me page. That makes me really happy. Career, love that you've just got like a quick timeline so they don't have to yet download your resume, but they know a little bit about what you've been doing. This is fantastic. Awards, amazing. It's very cool that you've won some awards. I don't even know how to win awards, so I love it. All right, Camille, let's check out your work. All right, so we've got UX case studies. We have a path to wellness, brand redesign, and responsive website. I'm curious, does this include UX or is it just brand redesign? Tell me more about this. BirthNet, self-project end-to-end app. Another Calm app, adding a feature to the Calm app as a self-project. And In Time, branding and responsive website. That's another self-project. So I'm guessing that this is the only one that might have a real world impact, which is totally fine. This is good. Okay, and you've got some branding and cool stuff. Okay, that was super cute. And also, this is really interesting. I love now I'm trying to remember what morphic version this might be. That's cool. All right. I'm going to dig into that real project of yours, Camille. Responsive website design, a path to wellness. 5 weeks. It was responsive desktop. Is that the platform? This is where it makes me laugh because we use these frameworks for case studies, but if we don't know what to put in there, we're like, I don't know, put something in there. Responsive desktop is not necessarily a thing. Yes, we're typically seeing this on a desktop, but does that mean that a laptop is not going to have a great experience? What about a tablet? So it feels like it's responsive website design, and you can just leave it at that. You've got tools in here, totally fine. And then your role, something that would be even more valuable right here than letting us know how long it took and what platform it was on is what specific methods and tools did you use as part of your role in research or in the UX and UI design? So branding and visual design, is that not the same thing as UI design? Tell me more about the specific things that you've done, because as a hiring manager, I might want to come in here and see, oh, you've got experience on these things, but I am looking for this type of person to fit this role on my team. So give them something to work with. All right, so the brief. A Path to Wellness is a local primary care holistic medicine practice focused on the underlying root cause, located in St. Petersburg, Florida. Using natural medicine, functional medicine, and integrative medicine, they address a wide range of chronic health concerns in children and adults. Okay. I redesigned the brand identity and designed a responsive website. I would, depending on what we see here with the UX and UI design, I might come back to this, but my initial thought is usually keep the branding design and the UX design separate. Those are two separate case studies for two separate hiring managers, unless you're looking at smaller companies. And this is something I actually recently had a discussion about, because your portfolio is going to look really different if you're trying to go for one designer among 50 at a larger company versus I want to be the UX team of one at a much smaller company. More of those jobs, well, I don't think I can say with accuracy how many, what 60-40, 50-50 split there actually is in the market for the corporate type jobs with a team of designers versus being like the designer for a company. So I don't actually know for sure what that is, what the difference is, but I know that there are a variety of jobs out there, and the hiring manager that is looking for the person who can do it all, the UX generalist, is typically not looking for the real UX and UI branding specialist. So it's a thought. It might also be really nice to just break this up depending on how long the case study is. We'll see though. We'll see. Let's see click the final prototype. All right. So you've got a prototype on Figma, but I'm curious. See, it's on tablet. That's nice. I'm curious if this actually made it to the real world. So the impression I get off of how you have presented this case study is that it's a real world project, but we don't know that for sure. All right. Identifying the cause for a lack of clientele. Also, that's very interesting. So it's both helpful and unhelpful it looks like you've actually done a really good job modifying. I'm going to look at the page source here because I think this is UX Folio. No, it's Framer. All right, nice. Okay, way to leverage Framer. Okay, so this integration that they have with Figma lets us know that the last time you touched this was a year ago. Now, that may not be a problem. I am thinking of this, though, in terms of you're not getting a lot of traction based on the questions that you've given or your answers to my survey as I intake your portfolio for review, is that you're actively looking and you have not actually you haven't been able to break through into getting interviews. You've had several interviews, but only a couple for UX. So I'm super glad to hear that you're currently employed. But this tells me that if this is the most recent and most real project in your portfolio and you haven't touched it more than a year ago, now I'm not saying that you have to be consistently updating them, but if this is the most recent project on your case study, what have you been doing in the meantime? Have you been refining your skills? Have you been practicing with real world folks? Have you been looking for opportunities to add just a tiny bit of UX? It's important to make sure that you are up to date. So if you completed it looks like, I think, Design Lab in April of 2023, it is almost the end of May in 2024. And I'm wondering where you've been working. Not where, it doesn't matter what work you've been doing for money, but you need to be working on your skills. So I want to see evidence of that, even if these are in progress projects. People love to see. It's very scary to share an in progress project though, so I get it. All right. So we are a holistic medicine practice, a naturopathic practice. That's a tongue twister. And we're looking at the cause for a lack of clientele. Okay, so the current website hadn't been updated for years. I'm wondering if this is going to, yikes. Okay. I really hope the people who own this website don't see my reaction. Man, oh God, I I just got an idea for like an entirely separate video series. It's just like roasting people's pages, and I'm not that mean. This is why I get Botox, because I don't like giving that expression. Okay, so the current website, and it is in fact current, it has not made it to production. Your designs have not made it to production. So it hasn't been updated for years. Oh my God, that is so obvious. The plan started with a deep dive into the website, identifying areas that could be improved, condensed, and or removed. With little organization and unclear messaging and hierarchy, this practice lacks credibility. Yeah, due to its lack of organization. It's not due to the lack of organization. It's due to the visual design. It is freaking ugly. And I'm honestly going to be shocked if they get any business on their website whatsoever. Hold on, let's open it again. Let's do it. Okay. Videos and media. Oh Lord, this is really bad. Okay. So Camille, this is an opportunity not to toot my own horn and not to like upsell a workshop, but this is why I do the free workshops that I do. This is an opportunity to reach out to them, not just to say, hi, I redesigned your website, I'm going to flip everything upside down, but this is an actual accessibility issue. These are real accessibility issues on the website. Now, some of them are pretty minor, like it's not terrible, but this is text that is actually not on, it's on top of an image. So a screen reader might actually be able to review it, but this, all right, it's an H1. That's something. Let's see what else we got here. It's a strong, it's an H2 wrapped in a span. Okay, that's fine. Yikes. This is so not good. All right. So do we even have a font? The font size is 10 pixels and they have overridden it with an exclamation point, important. If you were in any of my classes, we talked about important statements and why we don't use them, because that is not good. So this is an inaccessible website. Anybody who would like to seek their services for holistic and naturopathic medicine is going to have a really difficult time, especially when, let me move my face, generally speaking, our practice focuses on an adult population. I'm guessing we're probably looking at a older adult population. I love that we've even got it here in Spanish. However, like this is come in and look around. Walls of Knowledge is not a title that compels me to click on this video at all. It's a vertical video done clearly sometime more than 5 years ago. Y'all, Dr. Jackson, bro, I love naturopathic medicine. You have no idea. My primary care physician is a naturopath, and that is how I am getting closer to my optimal level of health. But this is, girl, I know why you focused on this for a redesign. Okay, so the lack of clientele, obviously, did they reach out to you or did you reach out to them? Or did they have you connected at all? I'm super curious. So how do you know that they lack clientele? I mean, we can tell that the website's probably not converting that many people. I hesitate to open that back up and look at it on mobile. Inspect. Let's check this out. Yikes. What is this? What does that even say? A path to wellness? What? It's a display font. Oh no. Okay. And this is a Squarespace site, or they've gotten the image from a Squarespace site. Okay. This is, this is rough. So, and this right here is we're currently offering virtual and phone meetings. This is inaccessible because it's purple text on a black background. Oh, navigation. Master, herbal fairy, master of the herbs. Hey, girl. All right. So I've had enough time goofing on this website. All right. Let's get back to your case study. The ultimate goal is to increase clientele for a path to wellness. This is a fantastic goal. That website probably does not convert, and I bet we could increase conversion rates. We could increase their client base. We could also help solve some of the problems that people will pick up a phone for, especially the older generation that loves a phone, unlike us elder millennials. Like I still haven't called to make a blood work appointment that I was told to make 2 weeks ago. Put that on my to-do list. All right. So measuring success, can they successfully navigate the website and finding all relevant materials? We want to increase clientele. I'd love to know, as measured by what? The number of people who fill out a form on the website, the number of people who say verbally, hi, I found you online. Like, what are we measuring success by? And then, of course, yes, improved customer perception. It'll be my job to redesign the website to address the areas mentioned above and make the website feel true brand identity and visual hierarchy. Make the website feel current, communicate clear messaging, and be user-friendly from desktop to mobile. Yep. All right, so we did a survey. From the survey, it looks like we got a Google form linked there. That's fascinating. Goal was to find out how people defined alternative medicine. So if I was a user researcher person, or I was looking for a user researcher, I'd probably want to find out about that survey and what people defined as alternative medicine. This is not helpful. This is a bunch of texts and a screenshot, and these are answers. Now, what your job is as a UX designer is to take these responses from the customers and tell me what you learned from this. So I'm not going to do the work for you by reviewing these and telling you what I see here, but your job is not to deliver this as a case study. This is telling me that you know how to use Google Slides and Google Forms and can copy and paste something. What you need to be telling the hiring manager is that you can take information from these 10 responses and make a design decision. So you've got, what does alternative holistic medicine mean to you? What are your personal experiences with it? And is there an interest in trying it out for practical prevention or primary care? None of these actually are user insights. A user insight would look something like, out of 16 responses, or this would be even more impressive because it's 62.5%, we're going to round up, 63% of respondents said that they would be interested in trying alternative medicine. That can connect us to something that goes on the home page about interested in trying alternative medicine or naturopathic medicine. Find out more here. That tells us that we can make a design decision that some of our target customers are curious and maybe want to know more. Also, let's see, are you interested in alternative medicine, acupressure, naturopathic care, blah, blah, blah? Yes, no, not sure. I'm hiring a nutritionist, but I would not call that medicine. That looks like an other. Amazing. 75% of our respondents indicated that they would be interested in using alternative medicine. So 63% said that they have tried it. Sorry, I think I misspoke earlier. They have tried it. 75% would be interested in it. And then you're going to pull some kind of quote on here that says, this is what I understand these customers, these survey respondents have told us. So take these off and give us keep the user survey and insights, but I don't see insights. I see user survey, and I want to see 1 to 2 to 3 insights. What did you gather from this that helps you design an interface? Defining their personas. All right, so the goal was to determine our audience of who would be interested in alternative medicine, what they valued in doctors. Where did you see that? I did not see anything that they valued in doctors, and what criteria they found important. So I want to assume, but you are not saying whether or not you actually conducted user interviews in order to get what they valued in doctors and what criteria they found important in selecting doctors. That is not actually covered by your survey. So tell me, not defining the persona, but understanding our users, who is our target market? So if our goal stated at the top of the page was to increase clients, we aren't looking at defining their persona. We're like, let's identify the clients, the potential clients. So distinct patterns you uncovered, which you synthesized into an affinity map. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, nobody is clicking through to your affinity map. You can put a bit.ly link on there and I can tell you that you're not going to get any hits. I'll hit it, but I guarantee I'm not going to see anything terribly exciting on here. So yay, pictures. That's not helpful. That doesn't help us understand, oh, hey, here's more questions here. So age range, are you currently employed? I'm curious why you want to know that. If yes, what's your job title? Again, why do you want to know that? Is that because you want to find out who the people are? This is something that I would include if I was describing what research I did. You didn't do a ton of that. I don't think you want to dig into UX research based on what I see on your portfolio, so no worries. Tell me about your experience. Are you interested in? Tell me about that experience. Please elaborate further. If no, okay. So this is not good survey design. I would have coached you around creating a little bit better questions in terms, and I would also set this up as if they answer no to this, then it goes to a different part of the form rather than establishing second questions. If yes, elaborate further. If no, elaborate further. That's not fair to your survey people. The answers that you got were from people who were kind enough to give you their time. Other thoughts or concerns or comments, that is tough. And then you might have had some folks open to participating in a virtual interview, and that might be where you got this information for the defining the persona section from. However, this affinity diagram and all these Post-it notes with text that I cannot read do not tell me what you are able to do as a UX designer. They tell me that you own a stack of sticky notes and you are prepared to use them. So give me something important. Tell me that you conducted user interviews, even if you only conducted a few of them. What did you learn, and what design decision were you able to make from reviewing them? So we've got Carol and Mike. These are very large images, apparently. I would also double check that. I'm going to inspect this because I bet, yeah. Okay, so this up here, and I can't move my mouse, otherwise this information is going to go away. So make sure you look up here in the top right corner. The rendered size is 780 by 478 pixels, but the intrinsic size is 2048 pixels by 1229. I also can see that it's 263 kilobytes of space. And I think that might have been a little too large. So I would suggest running your images through something like Tiny PNG, where you can drop your images here and it would compress them to a much smaller file size and make it easier for those to open up on the website. So plays pickleball and tennis. Alternative measures could help decrease injury as well as be a practical change to a lifestyle that's not invasive. They try to find the source of the problem. What quote is that for? Oh, didn't mean to do that. What quote is that for? Turns out you can't just click on it. Fine. Alternative measures could help decrease. Whose quote is that? It's not Carol's. Tech and knowledge, IT and internet, these are never helpful. I think a bunch of different websites have described how this doesn't really help you empathize with Carol more. If anything, like intuition versus analytical, I'm not sure what you're actually trying to convey, but it looks like, oh, we got really bored, or we had a really cool little template that we wanted to use and decided to cram as much information in there as we thought was appropriate. The most important things we want to see are goals and needs and frustrations and fears. Brand affiliations is not going to help you identify someone who's willing to go to a naturopath. In fact, Medicare is not a brand that anyone is like willingly associated with and is like, I'm excited about Medicare. So it's not a great piece of data points. Motivation, social, incentive, growth, fear, achievement, not meaningful to me as a hiring manager to get us an understanding for what you know about talking to users and creating a user persona. So I would review these user personas for, I guess, validity. And okay, this is interesting. Aetna, again, yeah. No, if nobody wants to like be affiliated, nobody's wearing a Medicare t-shirt, and they're certainly not wearing an Aetna one unless Aetna was a sponsor at the 5K that they did. All right. Also, you didn't tell me how much this information impacted your mapping out the flow. What does Mike and his brand affiliation with Aetna and his desire to be a total introvert who is very analytical and cautious is misspelled, how does this help you, the designer, Camille, map out the flow and create the branding? Also, mapping out the flow and branding should not at all be in the same area. They don't even talk to each other. Mapping out the user flow has nothing to do with branding. So as a hiring manager, I would start to question how much UX design you actually know, or if you were just trying to cram in some UX methods into a UI project. So your user flow focused on another Figma link, focused on the user being a new customer to the site. I bet I'm going to find an onboarding flow. Browse. Okay, let's see. Path to wellness homepage. Quick browse of the homepage. Likes what they're seeing and reading. This is not an action. Clicks the About Us navigation. Clicks on Team tab. Why did they choose that? Why did they go to the Team tab before they chose schedule an interview, or the nutrition page, or the herbal fairy, herbal magic woman? This is super speculative and doesn't actually tell me that you know what they're looking for on the website. Did you ask questions in the interviews? You didn't tell me in that last section. So I want to know, what questions did you ask that allowed you to map out this flow and feel like it was an accurate representation of a user on the website? And I'm also curious if, let's see, that's not what I meant. Great. Okay, we're just going to open all of these things, all of them. Thanks, Command-Shift-T. You're the best. All right. So, like what they're seeing, click on the About Us navigation. Would they? Because it looks like that doesn't exist. So you created a user flow for a website that doesn't exist, and you're basing the expectations on what they're going to interact with and what they're going to do on your assumptions. But we don't have any information on why you made those assumptions. What would they find important to view? How did you make these decisions? I designed the flow to start with information about the practice and eventually make their way to booking an appointment. Did you validate this with humans who might be interested in working with this business? When did you create this user flow? Was it before or after you did the redesign? I'm very curious. I would conceptualize the rebrand as an entirely separate section. So you started thinking of who your audience will be and what message you wanted to convey. This is not about you. This is the branding for a business. So you want to be concerned with what the brand wants to convey. What does the business want to convey? So when a person enters the site, what is the most important information? In your user interviews, I would have asked something like, what's the most important interview or information that you want to feel comfortable knowing before you book an appointment with an alternative medicine practitioner? So I would be very curious what information they said. I don't think I saw anything like that on your survey. So I'm curious. Cool tones of blue. I got to be honest, not a visual designer. This is a really beautiful logo, but me personally, it's not something I resonate with. And because I don't at this point have trust that you actually talk to users about what resonates with them, I feel like you've done a really beautiful job creating a visual aesthetic, but I have not necessarily gotten comfortable or confident about how this actually is going to work with humans in real life. Wireframes, lo-fi wireframes. Why are they so small? Between my two personas, I had to keep in mind the important needs. All right, these look fantastic. These are mid-fidelity, I would actually say. You've got logos, you've got some images in here. It's not easy to see because everything is super teeny tiny, which makes this a very unhelpful image to look at when I'm trying to figure out if you're actually good at creating a user experience or if you're just really good at creating a UI, which is totally fine. I love these designs, but these are mid-fidelity. Keep in mind the important needs they share when building the responsive site. How might we make the site look and feel credible to attract more customers? All right. I would highlight that. Like, is that the intention that you have here? Look and feel credible. Did you ask about credibility in your user research so that you can make good decisions, or did you just rely on your own instinct? It's fine if you're only a visual designer, but we don't rely on instinct as UX designers. Started with sketches. I appreciate you not showing them. Worked my way into wireframes. For the redesign, I kept mindful of creating a sense of ease by directing the eye with rounded shapes and graphic elements. Again, this makes me feel like you are much more of a UI designer than UX. I designed the beginning layouts to get feedback from my peers and my mentor. What about from potential users? Anybody who would be interested in alternative medicine could tell you the difference between that site and this. Once iterations were made, I was ready to test it. Okay, with previous interviewees, thankfully. With each iteration, there were improvements made, from the changing of colors, reducing of clutter, creating a more simplistic layout, providing clearer information. How? Colors I don't care about. What do you mean reducing clutter? I reduced the number of elements on the page from this to this because it helped my users understand blah better. Creating a more simplistic layout based on feedback from interviews, I understood that there was too much visual noise at play and that the target customers would appreciate a very simple layout. Clearer information. What information was unclear? I did this, and as a result, I had more clear information specifically around these topics that my customers wanted to know about. High fidelity wireframes. They're not, okay, those are not wireframes. These are mock-ups. we're going to play a game on my YouTube about what's a wireframe and what's a mock-up. It's so interesting, but there are very distinct differences. So once you have started to add this much level of color, honestly, anything past like a simple, like one shade of color, like you can have shades of blue, but once you've expanded beyond that, we're in mock-up territory. So we're going to need a bigger boat. No, this is a terrible joke. That doesn't even work. I would add some spacing in between the end of that picture and the beginning of this section, like you've got here. Yeah, you got spacing on all of these. So why is this one missing it? So testing and iterations, you did some usability testing. Fantastic. Uncover if there are design inconsistencies and usability problems. Test the overall flow and ease of navigation. Honestly, I would look for a viability test. It's less about usability testing, which is totally necessary, absolutely. But I would really get this in front of previous people or potential customers and talk through, this is how I would even approach the business. You've already done all the work to make their website better. Reach out to them and say, hi, I've done this user research. Can we implement this? Because your website is a travesty and frankly should be called a hate crime. So maybe that's a little dramatic, but this trustworthy and valued enough to book an appointment. Yeah. Conducting methodology, conducted or conducting. Have you done it or are you doing it? Educational onboarding. Interesting. After conducting my usability test, I created an affinity map with key insights, behaviors, and findings from the tests. 100% of participants completed the proposed tasks in under 10 minutes. All participants commented on the design's credibility and professional look, complimenting the color palette, clear hierarchy, and information. I assumed the layout and content was sufficient for the customer to have a sense of confidence with CE instead of a T to book an appointment, but I observed that more explanation of the services needed to be clearer and further explanation of those services needed to be outlined. Again, we don't do images with tons of text. This isn't helpful for a hiring manager. It doesn't give them information. It just shows that you know how to move around stickies on a screen. So what did you observe and what information did you gather? What exactly needed to be more clear? What further explanations were needed for which topics? How did you determine what content was necessary? Looks like an elevated website and doesn't look cheap. Thanks, bruh. Was confused there was only one doctor on the homepage, would suggest showing more doctors on homepage section or say meet our staff instead of just Dr. Jackson. That's a good feedback. Improve a calendar feature on the booking form page. Calendars are always beastly. All right. Insights. Revised prototype. Based on observing users interacting with the prototype and the feedback I received, I prioritized these key changes. Back button and scroll to the top option. Interesting about the back button. I think you might mean breadcrumbs. Include the various treatments offered with each service's descriptions, edit wording on the booking screen, include a calendar feature on the booking form page. All right, so we've moved down to reflection and we've decided we change our font. Takeaways: as the sole designer on this project, I executed the design process end to end from research to implementation with input and support from my mentor. Self-sufficient and agile. Relying on insights from users, that is not what you're demonstrating. So I want to see more insights from users and how they guided you to the next step, because that's the UX process that you followed. Is I understood what users were looking for, and then I created a good user experience and gave it to them. All right. View final case study. What would that be? All right. So your link is broken, might have moved permanently to a new address. That must be your slide deck. Next steps would be to present the outcome and the findings to hopefully implement. I would like to know more. I would like to know if you were actually able to talk to them. Research showed that there are key features needed in order for a customer to be interested in and maintain service with a doctor. I think this looks absolutely fantastic. I also love your call to action for your next project. I do want to see, why did this just, ooh, that was weird how it jumped me up here. I would really like to see you actually push forward on getting better with specific skills. This is a really broad project and it feels like most of it was UI based. So I would dig a little deeper on the UX stuff, but it is really good. It's detailed. I'm really excited about it. And I think you've got a lot of opportunity here. I really hope you have reached out to that doctor because that is just bad. And I'm putting this out here for you and anyone else. If you find a website that, oh my gosh, look at this. We are currently only offering Phone meetings. Cool. Nobody can read that, bro. So this is an offer. I would love to help you learn how to do an effective website accessibility and usability evaluation. I have an entire process for it. For this website, it would probably take 2 to 3 hours. It is not the most it is very, very robust. We've got over 170 checklist items on there, and I talk you through absolutely everything. This is the way that I think it is helpful to reach out to small businesses, because this doctor is vulnerable to a digital accessibility lawsuit as a result of not updating their website. So this is actually an opportunity for you to get them into a better website. Like, let's slip into something a little bit more modern, but also you can also learn a little bit about usability and accessibility as well. So please reach out if that's something that you'd be interested in doing. I hope everyone enjoyed this case study review. I genuinely appreciate you, Camille, for allowing me the opportunity to review your portfolio. I hope this is helpful. Leave a message or a comment below if you found this helpful. Thanks so much and have a fantastic rest of your night.